friends. It's Friday. God. TGIF, welcome to Kittch. My name's Kristen Solorzano. I am the recipe developer and content creator behind What's the Freakin' Recipe? And y'all, the Super Bowl is coming up. I know the playoffs are happening. We're trying to figure out who's going to the Super Bowl. So we're doing tailgate game day food. And today, well, tonight, whatever, it's 5 o'clock. We're gonna be making chorizo queso and homemade tortilla chips. So let's just get into it, right? Okay, so I have a skillet behind me. We're gonna put our chorizo in that hot pan, but then I also have some vegetable oil preheating. So we're gonna kind of do like a little bit of multitasking and a kitchen dance. So first, let's get our chorizo going because that fat can render and it gets nice and crispy and delicious. And at any point, come join the chef's table. If you have a question, it'll pop right up here on the left. You can interrupt me, be like, Kristen, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Let's talk. Okay. All right. So hitting the pan with some chorizo. We honestly don't really need oil because the chorizo already has a lot of fat in it. And I love using chorizo because it's very affordable and you get so much flavor for your buck, right? There's chili powder, paprika, coriander, cumin, all of these delicious spices and flavors in one succulent, delicious sausage, right? I need a little spoon to break up my chorizo. There's one on the table on the counter. Jesus Christ. It's been a week, can you tell? I'm so glad you're here though. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just breaking it up with a spoon. So all of that delicious meat gets cooked and the fat renders out of that sausage. All right. I'm gonna break it up just a little bit more and then I'm gonna leave it alone. That way it actually has a moment to sit in its own fat and get crispy. Because that's what we want, baby. Okay. So let's start slicing up our tortillas. I'm gonna move y'all over here so you can see how I'm actually slicing these up for the chips. So I'm using yellow corn tortillas. You can use white corn tortillas. Let's do like 4-ish. Okay. Make sure they're nice. I do like, if you do have the opportunity, I do like using them when they're room temperature because you do want them to get, you want them to be pretty dry. If they are in the fridge, I would suggest sitting them out flat on the counter for maybe like half an hour to an hour to allow them to dry out. That way, when you add them to the hot oil, there's minimal chance of them splattering oil back onto you. And that way it kind of ensures that they get crispy because sometimes when they sit in the fridge, they get a little moist. I know that word is controversial, but they get a little damp, which won't really give you the result that we're looking for. So down the middle, and then I'm gonna do kind of like a diagonal thing and then just straight across. So then that way you get six. If I could get a better shot of it. There we go. Okay. So our chorizo's going, and I do have some hot oil already ready to go. It has cooled down a little bit, so let me just, we're gonna test. Okay, so this is how you test. You just take one sample one that way you're not putting it all in there and hoping for the best, right? We're just gonna do a sample one to see where we're at. Or you could also stick the bottom of a wooden spoon, and if it kind of bubbles, then you're good to go. That's sort of bubbling, but why the hell? Why the hell not? We'll just That's pretty good. It's pretty decent. So we'll just kind of see where that takes us and how long it takes. It looks pretty good though. It looks like it's up to temp. And since we're not using like a batter or anything, you really don't need a ton of oil. I think in the recipe I put a cup. There's like a cup and a half in the pan right now. So you don't really need a ton of vegetable oil just to make tortilla chips, right? Let's check on our chorizo. Here, I'll move y'all back over here so you can see how it's starting to brown up. Yeah, baby. So this is gonna add a ton of flavor to our queso. Which is what we want, right? We don't want our queso to just be one note. I'm gonna let our oil come up to temp a little bit more as well. Delicious. This really isn't giving like too much fat off, which is good. It's more focused on the actual meat cuts in the chorizo than it is just the fat. So the chorizo will either come in like a plastic casing. You do want to get the fresh chorizo. You don't want to get the cured one. Let me get our tester out of here so it's nice and crisp. So while that chorizo is going, we're going to add our first batch of chips in. Do our little kitchen dance. Okay, so working in batches, you don't want to add them all in at once because it's going to cool down your oil, and two, they're going to overlap each other and they're going to cook unevenly and they're not going to get very crisp. So just a handful of the tortilla chips. There we go. Excuse me. I am fighting a little bit of a cold. Oh, baby. You see how those just fried right up? And this really only takes a couple of minutes. The chorizo is popping at me. Delicious. I like to kind of just turn them over a little bit. Excuse me. Turn down our chorizo pan a little bit. Excuse me 1 second. Put in a little cough drop because I don't want to keep coughing on y'all. There we go. So we want our chips to be cooked until they're lightly golden, but then they sound crisp when you pick them up, right? And I'm just putting them on a paper towel lined sheet tray. That way some of the excess oil can drain off. There we go. Lovely. And when they come out, we're going to salt them right away. You can use salt. Tahini is also delicious on this, so you get like a little bit of a chili lime kick to it. Chef's kiss. All right, we have a couple more chips to go, but I'm going to bring y'all back over to our chorizo because that is nice and crispy. And this really comes together in no time at all. That looks delicious. Okay. So there's not really like a ton of oil to drain off, but we're going to anyways, just for a little bit of an insurance policy. So I'm taking the chorizo out of the pan, letting it drain on a paper towel, just so we're not adding too much excess oil to our queso. But we still want all of those brown bits at the bottom, right? That's where the flavor happens. Okay, so for our queso, okay, I got it. Our queso, I'm going for, what we're trying to go for here is we're going for nostalgia, right? We're going for that stadium queso. So that means Velveeta cheese. Yes. I just dropped a cube. We're not going to use that one. That's okay. We're not going to use that cube. Velveeta cheese, right? When I think of queso, stadium queso, I think of the one that you get in either poured over the top of some warm chips that they have just over the heat lamp, or just like a side of nacho cheese with your pretzel. So that's what we're going for. I was so excited about the queso that I forgot to tell you what the salsa was. This is Herdez medium salsa. So I am using a store-bought salsa. It just makes it easier, right? Like on game day, you want to be able to enjoy the food and not just be like sitting in the kitchen the whole time, right? So what we're doing here is we're just kind of waiting for this cheese to melt in with the salsa. If you're not sure on using Velveeta, I do have a great bratwurst beer cheese dip, which just, it does use a little bit of American cheese. And then you can sub the bratwurst for chorizo. That would also be very delicious. But when you're serving cheese dip for game day, you don't want to have to worry about, my chips are just going away. I think I burned them a little bit. I've been yapping. I think we're okay. Just a little well done on that batch. That's all right. All of our other ones were pretty good. So when you're making queso for game day, you want it to last a little bit, right? So by using the Velveeta cheese, it's going to stay that nice consistency for quite a while. Whereas when you're just using milk and flour, you do run the risk of the cheese dip breaking a little bit when you do go to serve it. So if it's been sitting out for a little while, this just kind of adds that creaminess, that texture, consistency assurance, right? Delicious. This looks good, even the burnt ones. They're not burnt, they're just well done. And that's okay. Look at that. Delicious. And that really came together in no time at all. Let's check on our queso here. See how the cheese is just becoming one with the salsa? Yes, that looks so good. We're almost there. Delish. Really takes no time at all. I am going to get a sip of water though. I'm going to give this a couple more minutes I'm gonna clean up my area real quick. Excuse me. You're done with the cutting board, I believe. Clean up just a little bit. I am excited for game day, though. My daughter has already requested pretzel bites and cheese dip. Oh yeah, baby. That looks so good. You see how gooey it's getting? Yes. So excited. All right. So we're getting closer. I'm going to add our chorizo back in. See how it kind of drained off that excess fat? I'm going to do this over here just to make sure I don't get any paper towel in there. I'm adding the chorizo back in, and we're going to add some cheddar cheese. I believe I have pepper jack in the recipe. That is also delicious. I know the kids are going to eat this, so I just went with the cheddar. Alrighty. Oh man. That just looks so cheesy and delicious. Oh my gosh. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I'm going to show you. That's like about done, but I'm going to show you the move, okay? This is the move. So you can absolutely serve just a skillet of queso with like a bowl of chips. You can absolutely do that. But if you take it up just like another extra notch, I suggest getting like paper bowls or just setting bowls out so people can put their chips in a bowl, add the queso right on top, and they can make like their own little nacho situation, right? You can have some, let me take y'all back over here. You can have some pico de gallo. You can have just some like pickled jalapenos. Here, let me get a fork so I'm not, just shoving my hands in a jar full of jalapenos. I'm so nice, right? So courteous. There we go. Look at that. Ah! I'm so excited. Here we go. Cheers, Kittch. It is so good. It's like stadium nachos, like on another level. You know what I mean? It's so delicious. If you wanted it to make it like a little more spicier, you could absolutely chop up jalapenos in with the queso as well. That would also be pretty banging. But this. You hear that crunch? It's so good. Oh my god. That's it, Kittch. We made a chorizo queso and homemade tortilla chips in less than 20 minutes. If I can do it, you can absolutely do this. And I really hope that you make it a part of your game day, whether that be the Super Bowl or this weekend or these next coming weekends. Honestly, there's always an occasion for chorizo queso. Well, I want to thank you for coming into my kitchen. You can follow me here on Kittch. I have a lot of exciting tailgate themed, Super Bowl themed streams coming up. One coming up on Sunday. We're making Chipotle barbecue flatbread, which I'm excited to show you. And I have some other ones coming up as well to get you ready. And then I think I'm also going to throw in some Valentine's Day one to get you ready for, Valentine's Day with yourself. Treat yourself or your little sweetie. You can follow me also on social media. I am on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of the things at WTFIN Recipe. And I just want to thank you for hanging out with me this Friday evening. Thanks for stopping by. I'll catch you later. Bye, Kittch.